I'm seeing several articles that have mixed reviews over the required minimum distribution delay pushback, part of the Secure Act 2.0. Is this a negative thing or is it actually a good thing? I've got that perspective and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. I was a little surprised when I saw the first headline about this. Even more surprised when I saw the second and third headline, basically dissenting opinion about delaying required minimum distribution in this Secure Act 2.0. Basically, lots of opinions coming out saying, listen, hold your horses, this isn't a good thing, and by financial professionals, no less. And I was a little surprised, and so wanted to, number one, make sure I'm not missing anything. Hey, from a planning perspective, is there an angle that I'm not seeing, or is there some misinformation, or maybe an errant opinion, wrong opinion that I'd want to set the record straight? So before we get into that, the required minimum distribution. Now this is for your pre-tax retirement accounts where you've contributed or your company has matched pre-tax into a 401k or an IRA where the money that's in there has never been taxed, okay? When you draw that money out, you now have to report that money on your tax return. The IRS gets to tax it, okay? And so most of us, as you contribute, okay, it builds, you retire, kiss your paycheck goodbye, draw a little Social Security, right, and start pulling money out of your retirement accounts to supplement that Social Security. If you're not pulling enough, the IRS says, listen, by a certain age, you've delayed tax on this pre-tax retirement account for so long, we're gonna force you to at least take a minimum amount out. Now you can take out more, but you've got to take out at least this much so that we have an opportunity to tax it. And for a long time, that age when this required distribution would start was 70 and a half. And why half? No one knows. Someone was maybe grumpy that day in Congress or the IRS. Why a half? No one cares about half birthdays. But that's what it was. And then the Secure Act 1.0 came out at the beginning of 2020, and it pushed it from 70 and a half to 72. All right? And so that's what it's been for the past couple of years. Well, Secure Act 2.0 got crammed down our throats on Christmas Eve of 2022. So now the new rule is you don't have to start your required minimum distribution. If you've already started it, then so be it. You've already started and that's it. But if you haven't started yet, then age 73 is when your required minimum distribution starts. And in 2023, so for those of you with a birthday of 1960 or later, or earlier, or younger, let's say that, all right, a couple ways to think about it, then your required minimum distribution age isn't until 75. Now, at first blush, I mean, they've been talking about this for a while, Secure Act 2.0, all of 2022, they were, explaining, hey, this is the proposal, what we're trying to do. I love it. I love it. Gives you more choice. It doesn't mean that you're forced to not take anything out until age 73 or age 75. You just have the choice. If you don't need it, then delay it. I love that idea, and I'm all for that. Now, it creates complexity. I don't like that, not in favor of that, and there's way too much complexity in the tax code anyway, and now we've got all sorts of changes again, but giving you the option of delaying it. Now, I thought everyone shared that view, but I've seen articles just like this one that are the opinion of some financial folks, or at least an angle, saying this might not be that great of a thing. And as I've read a couple of these articles, I'm getting a few of the arguments. So here's essentially how it works. When you reach that required minimum distribution age, every single year, your financial institution, your financial planner, or you yourself will need to do a calculation to determine what is your required minimum distribution. And that calculation is based on the balance of your IRA or pre-tax retirement account on 12/31 of the previous year, divided by a life insurance factor, or not life insurance, a life expectancy factor, based on a life table based on your life expectancy, okay? So that's how that calculation goes. With this delay of required minimum distribution, it doesn't mean that the calculation when you were 70 and a half is now the exact same calculation at age 75. No, it just means, well, that same life expectancy factor that you would have used at 75 is still going to be your 75 amount, and therefore your RMD, your required minimum distribution, is going to be higher because you haven't been forced to start taking withdrawals until 75, and therefore your IRA balance likely grew because you weren't taking withdrawals, and because you're older and your life expectancy is shorter. That calculation means you're going to have to draw more out. So that's been part of the opinion. Honestly, so the opinions that I've heard where, hey, this isn't that great of thing, or maybe you shouldn't take advantage of this delayed RMD. Number one was, well, if you need the money, then you shouldn't, delay your RMD. Well, of course, that's obvious. That is obvious. You've saved this money up for your retirement and to supplement your Social Security. So if you need the money before age 73 or before age 75, draw the money out. So to me, that argument, completely dismissed. That is no argument, okay? But the second of, well, your required minimum distribution will be higher out there in the future, I agree with that. But to me, that's not a reason to say, well, this was not a good strategy. I would push this required minimum distribution age out to 80 if I could. They didn't ask me. But because it opens the opportunity for you to do more planning. If a higher required minimum distribution at age 73 or at age 75 all of a sudden creates some tax consequences, meaning it's higher, so now it pushes you in a bigger tax bracket, or it causes more of your Social Security to be taxable, then consider doing some Roth conversions or doing some advanced tax planning between when you retire and that required minimum distribution age to help reduce or even eliminate the impact of your required minimum distribution on your tax return. So to me, this isn't a negative thing that, well, it could be higher or it could create some consequences. No, this is a positive thing because you now have more time to do proactive tax planning. So here's the planning point. Here's the takeaway. Required minimum distribution ages are being pushed back. If, and this is, I'm going to say it, it's logical, it's obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. If you're in retirement and you need to be drawing money out of your IRA anyway, then these required, and it's more than the required minimum distribution amount, then don't worry about it. Don't worry that the age has been delayed. It doesn't impact you. Instead, work with your certified financial planner. Make sure that you've got a sustainable withdrawal rate and retirement income plan. And so be it if you don't have to ever worry about required minimum distributions because you're already pulling enough out. Who cares? Who cares? Doesn't apply to you. So don't worry about it. Now, if you're withdrawing less than what your required minimum distribution amount is, or if you reach a point where you say, well, I don't need to draw out of my IRA or my pre-tax accounts, I've got other dollars that I'm going to draw from, then work with your certified financial planner to look at two other tax planning strategies. One, should you be doing Roth conversions along the way before your required minimum distribution starts so that you can lessen your required minimum distribution impact? If along the way you're taking 50 grand a year and moving it from your IRA to your Roth, IRA to your Roth, IRA to your Roth, then all of a sudden you do that for 7 years, for 10 years even. If if you retire at 63 and your RMD it doesn't start until 73, you might show up at 73 and not have any IRA left. You might have converted all of it. A strategy that we've done for lots of folks. So that's one. I would explore whether you should be doing Roth conversions or some other tax planning strategy like that before your required minimum distribution age. Or the final option is if you could be doing Roth conversions, but instead you could take the money out. It's better for you and your overall financial plan to take the money out of your IRA early and apply that money towards a different goal. Yes, it would be nice to do Roth conversions, but you also have this other unfunded goal, and you could draw money out in a favorable tax bracket today, and that avoids or limits a higher RMD for you out there in the future. Maybe that's something you should consider. Now, this is a much smaller group or that this would apply to versus the folks that would do Roth conversion, but occasionally there's a goal of helping grandkids with college or some other things. And if you're in the 12% tax bracket today And if you delay, then out there at RMD, you could be in the 22% tax bracket. Maybe taking a little bit out of your IRA now and applying it towards a different goal might be helpful and help kind of manage against this risk of your RMD being higher out there in the future because it's delayed and making some, creating some tax consequences. All of this, I would still argue as a positive thing, giving you more choice, more flexibility between when you need to start, between your retirement and when you're forced to start drawing money out of your pre-tax retirement accounts. The need increases for financial planning. The need increases for a tax projection, multi-year tax projection, projecting out what will that RMD be, and therefore are there some tax strategies you should consider right now. Work with your certified financial planner on that multi-year tax projection, that plan of, hey, listen, out there in the future, your RMD might be a problem, or hey, your RMD is not going to be a problem in the future, you're on the right track, whatever. Your CFP is going to help you with all of that. So work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.